What's going on, Archons? You don't know this, but this is a late night recording. Thoughts, everything. The inspiration struck on my drive home from work, and I decided I had to hop on behind the camera, or I guess in front of the camera, behind the microphone, and share my idea, what I wanted to explore with all my Archons out there. I found it. I found the moments. So, as you all know, my content creation has been waning as of late, and part of it was new job, new life situations, and I couldn't figure out the rhythm when I could record. And I found it. I found the pocket where I need to be, and that is when I get home from work before I go to bed. Let's talk about some KeyForge. After a long day, let's talk about some KeyForge. It's not Crucible and Cognac. This is some bourbon tonight. Crucible and Copper Kettles, we'll call it. I'm just here sipping, musing, beating around the bush, not getting to the point. But enough of that. Let's talk about what this is all about. I mean, you could tell by the title of the YouTube video at this point, but I'm taking a very labored route to our destination, which is, how do you fall in love with the KeyForge deck? Not only that, but can you just fall in love with the KeyForge deck you just opened? This is the test that I'm posing to myself, because for all of you who listen to the content I'm a part of, I have over the past little bit been speaking about going through my collection, noting the decks that have significance to me that I want to play, because a lot of them have memories attached to it. Now, opening a deck in this context, just on my YouTube, what is momentous about that? I mean, that is the question I'm really asking myself here. Can I fall in love with a deck that I just opened here? And what are the parameters that exist that would make me want to fall in love with a deck? So, first, is there a memory attached? Did something significant happen with the deck? That's the greatest one out there. That's the easiest one to do. Win a tournament, go to a tournament that was very memorable, make an achievement, things like that. Now, there's other decks that I have in my collection that did not fall into this, and they did actually happen from opening on this. One was during an Advent, and another one I no longer possess, but actually was also on the Advent. So the Advent is actually a place where significant decks can be discovered. Now, not all of them. So you think there's 24. I did that, 2 or 3 years. I think I only have like 3 of them that are in existence. So it's not a high probability. So what I wanted to figure out tonight is, can you pinpoint something about a deck that you can love, that you can fall in love with, that you love to do with? Is it possible, just on your own merit, you willing it, you deciding to take the time to really see? I mean, there's a chance that, it's kind of like dating in a way. You spend time, you see possibility, you see potential, and then as time goes on and your relationship progresses, you realize that you're not as compatible as you once thought. That's totally feasible and very KeyForge. So here's the question. 2 brand new decks. Dark Tidings and a Mass Mutation. This one's big because it's just a deluxe Archon. I have so many of these kicking around. And out of these 2, I decided that these 2 decks held the greatest possibility of falling in love with the deck. Now, Mass Mutation, the candidate. Dark Tidings, the other candidate. Some of you are like, Dark Tidings, yeah, I don't gravitate to that. I do. And not only that, but Dark Tidings provides the possibility for discovery. They're the most complex decks that SAS actually doesn't quite grasp for many reasons. So that is why it is in the conversation. Now, truthfully, I think Mass Mutation has the greatest possibility for being a deck that you can fall in love with. And the reason being is one of the things that can make me fall in love with a deck is how unique it is. Chase cards, Dav decks, for example, exist. There's the fact that this has so many enhancements, and there could be a way that the enhancements come together in such a unique and crazy way that make you go, wow. And now that I'm going to actually review the deck through the Master Vault, rather than opening it up here, I'm going to actually do a little scanner Rooney. Let's see how well my deck scan works. I mean, I'm afraid I'm going to disconnect the video, so maybe I won't do it that way. I'll just use my phone and do the good old refresh. So, yeah, these are the way I'm looking at it. Is Mass Mutation and I think Dark Tidings provide the greatest possibility. Dark Tidings obviously has the potential to have a SAS deck that doesn't rate high, but sometimes maybe that's not it. Maybe there's more to it than that. I didn't want to go with Call of the Archons just because I'm bored of Call of the Archons. I'm very, very picky about my Call of the Archons right now. Same with AoA, super ultra picky. When it comes to Worlds Collide, there is the fact that regardless of what it is, if a Brobnar shows up, it's got too much of a stigma within the set that I actually don't think that I can fall in love with that deck just because there's certain things that could exist in Brobnar and ARP that makes me maybe not, sorry, that's something in my throat, that makes me maybe not want to go for that in the way that I'm trying to do this. These two sets, I think, provide the greatest possibility. In fact, if I had a WoW deck right now, an open WoW deck, I would do it with that. I can't play it in the same way, but because it is so new, my level of discovery, I don't have any bias going into it like I just mentioned with these other sets. So therefore, it gives me the freshest take on it, so I can spend the time playing it, loving it, figuring it out. And then regardless of what its SAS ends up being, I could already be established in that way. So we will not be using SAS today for this. I'm very much leaning towards the Mass Mutation for the fact that there is all of the things that I mentioned with enhancements and all that, but my gut is saying go with Dark Tidings. Now, I think Dark Tidings is a very interesting set. It has seen virtually zero high-level tournament play. People have written it off, but there's stuff there. So I'm kind of in this place where I just don't know how to assess these two. And as I speak on Dark Tidings, I'm not going to go with the Dark Tidings deck. Maybe I will try this if I feel this doesn't work, but we're gonna see this through for a bit. So we're going with the Mass Mutations route. I don't know if I'm even going to open this deck. I'm just going to scan it, and then we're going to look at it together. That's how we're going to do this. So it's going to be very little done, but I will tell you this. Rush Crush, spawn a Fidiorc. Fidiorc. And it's Sanctum, Star Alliance, and Untamed. Now, in terms of houses I like in this set, Sanctum would be up there, I would say, and so would Untamed. Star Alliance kind of falls in the middle. So let's get a little scan going here. And this way we can get into the situation. Okay, I'm going to hit scan my deck. If this turns off. Okay. Could not. I can enter the 15-digit code. So we're going to do that. I actually don't remember the last time I've entered a code in. Here it is. here's the deck. All right. So let's take a look at it. What do we got that's interesting in here? Can I fall in love with this deck? That's the question. Well, right off the top, I got a Dark Harbinger, which is one of my favorite decks. Cards. What else do we have here? Well, we got some draw pips. All right, we got Nell. Fortunately, got 2 things to go with Nell. A lot of actions here, like a lot of actions with Dark Harbinger. Stupid amount, in fact. So that's fun. So how do I fall in love with this deck? Just looking at it. All right. Do I even want to look at the composition? Because I can tell right now, just from a glance, that Star Alliance is where the most creatures are, followed by Sanctum with nothing in Untamed. But I could have a really fun burst turn with Dark Harbinger, especially with Song of the Wild. So let's kind of break it down this way. Each house, what do I like? Sanctum. Well, you know what actually a good point is how much Ember control is in here. Because if there's not a lot of Ember control, sometimes that can be a very very difficult route with the deck. It's hard to get behind a deck that can't control Ember. And so far, I'm feeling like that could be the problem with this deck. So I see Grovenal, which is going to help. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 there. And then when I go over here, well, there's almost none here. In fact, when I say almost, there is none. So, no, I lied. There is Stampede. So that's unfortunate. I'm not sure this deck I can fall in love with. I mean, it's a Quixelstone deck. That actually is very much in the vein of I could fall in love with this deck. That is a component. Having Dark Harbinger, that is something else that I could fall in love with this deck. Lack of Ember, though. Can I get around that? We got Nell and Antony. Can I bring those back in some way? No. Subject Kirby is nice. So the cool thing. Okay, so here's some things I noticed. Let's get back. Let's center ourselves. Let's take a sip and slow down. This could be a fun Quixelstone deck. You ask, but how? There's like what? 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 creatures. That's true. There's 20 creatures. But also, you could say that there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 creatures. Wow, that's a much better number for what we want to do here. Okay, much better number. The reason I say this is because we got Stealthster, we got Secure Droid, and we got Explore Rover, which I can use with Armor Officer Nell. And I'm liking that. I'm actually really liking that. So that is one great thing. You could make this a Quixelstone and you get the card draw with Nell. That's kind of fun. Antony. How can we make Antony just a lot better? This is the other thing. So one, Lady Lorena. That's a big one. Shoulder armor. That's another big one. All right, so we got 2 board wipes here. Just kind of looking at what's here. We got composition. I'm all over the map right now. I apologize. I'm a little excited because my initial feeling at a lack of Ember is being overshadowed by the potential of where we can take this deck, and maybe I can fall in love with this. Bulwark is fine. Burning Glare is fine. Cleansing Wave, that I'm kind of interested in. Lieutenant Grovenal, again, is going to be pretty crucial because I think Grovenal into Grey Rider is pretty big. Double Spirit's Way are providing the necessity to clear the board, so I'm actually really liking that. It's going to hit my board actually pretty hard. Like almost, I think everything on here is going to fall into that category except for the Grey Rider, really. Burst or Joya, I can fall in love with that. So the disruption here is interesting. I think routes you can take with this deck is you just throw down a Sanctum board and go that route. Or you can go, depending on what your opponent has, a Quixelstone deck. Hopefully get Nell, Kirby, and get some things like Kirby into Joya would be nice even. Or Kirby into Grey Rider to get Kirby to do something. Like there's some things here. I do like that Grovenal and the Observer Max are recursive capture, so it's not just going to happen one time. I like this too, is creating a mutant so that oh no, that's not this one. I'm thinking of something else. Resurgence, we can make it come back. That's good. Gross Surge, I mean, that's getting Anthony bigger potentially. Rapid Evolution, you could get Anthony huge to save that. I mean, Friday they don't have something, just kill something. Lost in the Woods is real nice as well. I'm liking that for the potential of, I don't know. I'm not really sure on that one, but I know it'll come in handy. And calling it right now, Lost in the Woods is crucial. You know what it could be? To set up a Savage Clash, because you keep your weakest. So that's interesting. Dark Fairy is cool in here as well. I think there's ways to generate Ember quite nicely in this deck. It's more the you got some control here for purging an artifact, which is really nice. Quixelstone is the only artifact. So you know what? I think I could fall in love with this deck. I think there are lines and plays that are really interesting that I want to explore. So you can get a board with your Sanctum and just go to town. You can actually, I think Star Alliance is where it's really fun. If we go over here, Mutation of Instinct and Stampede, Eunonia. After an enemy creature is destroyed by Eunonia, gain 1 and heal 2 damage. Gross Surge, Dark Harbinger with all of this stuff is incredible. Like Song of the Wild with Dark Harbinger is just going to be phenomenal. Yeah, I do see this actually going in a different direction. The only thing is, it is true. I mean, Commander Chan into some of the other cards here, especially the Sanctum stuff, could be really great. I imagine Cleansing Wave would be a small burst. I see the things here now coming together. The true question is, though, will the lack of Ember control end up really being the downfall of this deck? I feel like you can stymie a lot of decks going a Quixelstone route because you have, like, I mean, Quixelstone into a Dark Harbinger play where that's your only creature and you just keep going to town here. Oh, I want to see that happen. I could love that. Like, maybe this is a deck where you stick to a plan. Its ability to cycle isn't huge, but if you can just stick to a plan, that's pretty cool. And you get it. So you get a burst with that, and then you have Quixelstone doing its thing. Yeah, so I can see the potential if there's not a crazy burst, so you could go Observer Max, Censor Chief Garcia to tax Grovenal and get in some fights with Grey Rider. That could be a way that you get to where you need to be. It's really interesting. Like, I'm really thinking about this a lot. I think I could fall in love with this deck. it has two things I love: Quixelstone and Dark Harbinger. And that's saying a lot. Those two things I really like, and the fact that this is a really nice Dark Harbinger. So maybe I was looking at the wrong way. I think this deck can go 3 different routes, depending how your houses come in the cards. You can go for the board here, 2, 4, 6, 7, and just make that work. Get a bunch of damage. You also have the Lord Golgotha, 3 damage to each neighbor into a Cleansing Wave play, so that's pretty good. That's guaranteed potentially 4 Ember just from that with a Cleansing Wave. 1 attack, provided you don't kill the stuff. The Grey Rider Disruption is huge. And I'm liking that. And then you also can go the route of, you could just go for a board with your friends in Star Alliance and take that action. Or go the Quixelstone route and play very little. How many pips are in this deck, actually? That's kind of something I should find out. 1. I mean, Cleansing Wave could whiff, so we can't really count that. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 9 pips, so not incredible pip situation to go it off. But you do have things that can create Ember with Song of the Wild, Reclaimed by Nature, and Cleansing Wave. So maybe we can get there. Maybe we can get there. Oh, you know what? You do have some cycling. If you can get Nell out, there's pieces here. I gotta see how consistent it is. So we're gonna give this a shot. We're gonna roll this on the old Cruci and see where it goes. So let me know if you want to actually see me playing this deck, or if you just want a follow-up episode on what I found after jamming it a bunch of times. Any of those options is cool. So we're gonna wrap up this video for now. Maybe I will do one with this Dark Tidings deck if this doesn't go well, but we're gonna give this one a shot. We're gonna see how this feels. So that's it for this episode. Seeing if I can fall in love with Wretch Crush, Spawn of Fidyork. Will I crush on this deck? That's the real question here, Archons. So as always, may your Ember never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.